Hi, this is Ramesh Chokalingam. In this video, we are going to see the planetary position aspects and combination for love and love failures, and planetary position aspect combination for marriage and marriage failures. We'll start with love and love failures. In any horoscope, Kundali or Rasi chart, if you see a relationship exists between the planet Mercury and the Ketu. Ketu is the south node of Moon. If there exists any relationship between Mercury and Ketu, then there is a possibility for the native falling in love affair. And this combination is common for any ascendant. Let it be Aries to Aries ascendant to Pisces ascendant, and it falls on any sign from Aries to Pisces or any houses. This is a standard rule. If if there is a relationship exists between the Mercury and Ketu, then there is a possibility for the native to fall in love. The relationship, I mean, if there is exists an aspects between the planet Mercury and Ketu, or both of them they are placed in a single sign, then there is a then there exists a relationship between the Ketu and Mercury. Then there is a possibility for the native falling in love affair. Okay, so it's a very standard rule, and this is common for all ascendant, and this rule works for any falls on any sign or any houses. This is a very standard rule. Now, to this combination, if you add planet planet Jupiter also has a relationship with this combination. Like that is with Mercury and Ketu. If Jupiter is also related to these planets, then this love affair will end up in marriage. Jupiter relation may be a conjunction or aspects, conjunction or aspect from any houses, then this love affair will end up in the marriage. So the relationship that exists between the Mercury, Ketu, and Jupiter results the possibility of love affair, and the love affair end up in marriage. This is a very standard rule, and this works out for all the ascendant. Now, if to this combination, if you had Saturn also related to this combination, like Mercury, Ketu, Jupiter, and Saturn, somehow they are related by position or aspect or conjunction, then then also there is a possibility for native falling in love, and because of the impact of Saturn, the love affair will be for a very long period, maybe for 3 years, 4 years. The native will be having love affair with any person, and since Jupiter also involved in this love affair, and it finally ends up in marriage life. And this love affair finally ends in marriage. So, what is the planets are involved? The Mercury, Ketu, Saturn, and Jupiter. When Jupiter is alone is involved, then it end up in marriage. Maybe it happens immediately also. But when Saturn is involved in this combination, then the love affair will be for a very long period, maybe for 3 years or 4 years, and then finally it ends up in the love affair. I'm telling you again, this combination is standard. It's very standard combination, and this works out for all the ascendant. This works out for the all ascendant. Now we'll go. No, now we'll go for the. So this is the combination for the success of success of love affair, and ending up in marriage. Now we'll see the other combination which leads to the love failures. So we already said the Mercury Ketu gives a clue for the love affair. Then now if the Mars comes into this combination, I mean Mercury, Ketu, and Mars somehow related by their conjunction or by aspects, then there is a possibility of native falling in love affair, and it's end up in failure. There will be a love failure because if Mars also, if Mars comes into related to this conjunction of Mercury and Ketu. Similarly, as I said, if Saturn also involved in this combination, then there will be the love affair will be for a very long period, and but finally it ends up in the love affair will be for a long period, but finally it ends up in failure. There will be a love failure because of the Mars. And again, now you remove the Mars and Saturn from this combination. Now you add Moon to this combination. Mercury, Ketu, and Moon. If there exists a combination between these three planets, Mercury, Moon, and Ketu, again there is a possibility for love, the native falling in love affair. But because of the Moon involvement in this combination, it will be a total failure of love, and the native will suffer a lot because of this because of its failure in love. Okay, the combination is Mercury, Ketu, and Moon. It's a very bad combination for love failure. And the next one will be if the primary the primary planet involved in love affair is Mercury, Ketu. So only if Mercury Ketu has a relationship by position or aspects, then only that is a possible for love affair. Then only then the other planets are added for love, success of love, and failure of love. Now you see, with this Mercury Ketu combination, if Sun is involved, then there is a possibility for extra extra and an illicit relationship even before marriage. Even, I mean, there is a possibility of native to have relationship with the to have a relationship instinct relationship during this love affair during the love affair. But again, this because of sun also spoils the love affair, so there is a possibility of failure in love. So, as I said, the primary planets are Mercury and Ketu, and only if Jupiter is involved in this combination, there is a possibility for the success in the love. If Jupiter is not involved, and then there is no possibility for success. Similarly, if Mars, Moon, or Sun involved, there is possibility for there is possibility for love failure. And if Saturn is involved, then it indicates the love affair will be for a very long period. Okay. Now let's see what are the houses involved in this love affair. If the fifth house Lord placed in seventh house, then we can say there is a possibility for native to fall in love. Again, this is common for all ascendant. For example, if let us take Aries ascendant. For Aries ascendant is the fifth house is Sun Leo. So if the Sun is placed in the Libra sign, because the seventh Libra is the seventh house for the Aries. So if the Sun is placed in the Libra sign, then we can say there is a possibility for this Aries ascendant to fall in love to fall in love affair. Okay. Similarly, if there is exists a relationship between along with the second lord as well as the 11th lord, then this love affair will end up in a successful marriage. Again, we will take the same Aries ascendant as an example. Second house for Aries is Venus. So the planet Venus, then the fifth house is Sun, and then seventh house is again Venus. Then 11th house is Aquarius sign Saturn. Because the houses which are involved for love affair and success is second house, fifth house, seventh, and 11th. So 11th house is in particular because 11th house indicates the success in any matter. So only when the 11th house Lord involved in this combination, there will be success in love and end up in marriage. If the 11th house is not involved, then there is a possibility for failure. For example, instead of 11th Lord, if the 12th Lord is involved in the love affair, then there is a possibility for failure in love. So now we have seen the houses which are involved for love affair. I already told you second house, fifth house, seventh house, ninth house. The second house indicates your family member. So it indicates your family member. So after marriage, it indicates a new member coming to your family. Okay. Then fifth house is the house of love, indicates the love energy for the native. Hence the fifth house also involved in love affair. Then the seventh house indicates your partner, indicates a partner, and the 11th house is the house of success. So all these when there exists in a relationship between these four houses, then there is a possibility for success. So here the 11th house lord is important for the success of the marriage, for the success of the love affair. Again, we'll see another other combinations for love affair. For example, if the seventh, we'll take the seventh house. Seventh house indicates your partner, your wife or husband. So if the seventh lord is placed in 11th house, note it down. These houses, basics of the houses, the everyone should be know. Then only they can follow my video. Again, I'm taking an example for Aries ascendant. For Aries ascendant, seventh house is mirror Venus. So the when the Venus placed in the 11th house is Aquarius sign. So when the Venus placed in the 11th house, then there is a possibility for the native going and proposing the to another person, and the person will accept the native love. So this is one combination. The seventh house lord placed in 11th house indicates there is a possibility of love affair. And then again the same thing for success. For success, there should be involvement of involvement 11th house, 11th lord also. Okay. Then another position is if the seventh lord placed in third house. If the seventh lord placed in third house, then also then someone will come and propose a native, and native will accept the love. So they will accept the love, and it will end up in marriage. So see, I have told you two things now. The seventh lord placed in 11th house, then seventh lord placed in third house. When it is in 11th house, native will propose to another person, and the person will accept his love proposal. Similarly, if the seventh lord placed in third house, someone will come and propose to the native, and the native will accept the love. Okay, and I already told you when the fifth lord is placed in seventh, and similarly when the seventh lord placed in fifth, also there exists a love affair, and there is a possibility of love affair, and then it is ending up in marriage. So I have told you different combinations possible for love or love failures. Let us see what are the now we go to the planetary portion for marriage and marriage failures. Okay, for marriage, the house which you have to see is the seventh house and the seventh lord. Okay, now let us see this placement of. I already told you this seventh lord. What are the bad position for the marriage failures? Like if the ascendant lord and the seventh lord are in a 6/8 relationship, then there is a possibility for a marriage failure. 6/8 relationship means, let us again will take a Aries ascendant. See, whatever the placement I'm saying is common for all ascendant, but only for example I am taking Aries ascendant. Okay, let us take Aries ascendant. The Aries ascendant, the Lord is Mars. Let us say the Mars is placed in Aries itself, and the seventh lord is placed in sixth house. I mean, sixth house is Virgo. The seventh lord is Venus. So, if Mars in Aries and Venus in Virgo, then this combination is called 6/8. Then there is a native. There is possibility for marriage failures. Otherwise, we can say the native is all not eligible for marriage itself. So the relationship between the ascendant lord and the seventh lord is very important for the success in marriage. If they are in a very good relationship, then for example, it will be they will be having a good marriage life. Otherwise, the marriage failures is prominent. Is prominent. That's what I said. The the very bad position is like when I told you if it is a 6/8 relationship. Let us say the Aries Mars. I already told you example. Mars in Aries and Venus in Virgo sign. Even if the Venus is placed in Scorpio, also the same 6/8 relationship will come. So the 6/8 relationship indicates failure in the marriage. in any chart, if there is a exists this kind of 6/8 relationship between the ascendant lord and seventh lord, then we can say the native is not eligible for marriage. Otherwise the marriage life will be a very failure. The native will have a failure marriage life. When you move on to the next combination for the marriage, if there exists any relationship between the planet Mars, Jupiter, and Venus. I'm repeating again, the planet Venus, planet Mars, Venus, and Jupiter. If there exists a relationship between these three planets, it will be by conjunction or aspects. Uh, then also there is a possibility for a failure in marriage. Marriage will take place, but there is always possibility for the native to come out of the relationship. Okay, I'm repeating again. If there exists any relationship um, between the planet Mars, Venus, and Jupiter, then there is a possibility for separation in marriage life. Okay, the separation may take place immediately, or it will take after some year also. It depends upon the other planetary combination. But the primary is there should not be any relationship between these three planets. Even even these if these three planets, if they are exalted or depleted also, it also creates problem. Again, I'm repeating, the three planets are Mars, Jupiter, and Venus. If these three planets are, if they are exalted, or if they are depleted, like see, if the Venus exalted, Venus will be exalted in Pisces sign, Mars exalted in your Capricorn sign, then your Jupiter exalted in Cancer sign. So, if there exists any exaltation of these planets, and similarly their opposite signs indicates a debilitation, and if there exists a debilitation also, then also there is a possibility for failure in marriage life. The separation takes place again. The separation may take place immediately or after some time. So, these three important plays a major role in the native's marriage life. Then we'll go to the next combination, Venus and Mars. We already said, if there exists a relationship in Mars and Venus, we already told you there is a possibility for failure. In a female chart, if in a female chart, if there exists a combination for Mars and Venus placed in or conjunct placed in one sign, or they have a mutual aspect, then we can say the native will be have a suspicious character about her husband. I say, I'm repeating again, this combination is for only female chart alone. In a female chart, if the Venus and Mars placed together or they have any mutual aspect, then we can say then the native will be having a suspicious character towards her husband, and this because of this also this there will be a separation in marriage. Then we'll go to the next combination. Even this, since the Mars represents male and Venus represents female. So if there is a very bad, if these two planets also placed in a very bad position, then also there is a possibility for the failure in marriage. Like I already said, if the Mars and Venus placed in 6/8 relationship, then also there is a possibility for separation in marriage life. Okay, so we have seen many placements, many planets which causes marriage failures. Let me tell you some combination which is successful for marriage. If Jupiter aspects the first house or seventh house, because seventh house is a house of marriage, then there is a possibility for a successful marriage as well as a early marriage. I'm repeating again, if Jupiter aspects the if Jupiter aspects your first house or your seventh house, then there is a possibility for success in marriage life as well as early marriage. Okay, okay. Then we'll see other combinations also with respect to marriage. Since we know the seventh house indicates your marriage, let us see how the planets placed in seventh house gives a clue. To begin with, if the planet Sun placed in seventh house, then there is a possibility for the wife or husband will be an egoistic character. I'm repeating again, if Sun placed in seventh house, then there is a possibility for the native wife or husband to be of egoistic character. Now the second one, Moon. If placement of Moon in seventh house for female chart, let me tell you this for a female chart, if there is a placement of Moon in the female chart, then what happens? There is a possibility for the native to marry a person who is younger than her age. See, in female chart, if the moon is placed in seventh house, then there is a possibility for native to marry a younger person. Okay. Now we move on to the next one. The next one is Mars. If the Mars placed in the seventh house, let it be a male chart or a female chart, the native was then there will be a quarrel in their marriage life. There will be there will be always fight in their marriage life because of the impact of the martial energy. Okay. Now we go on to the next one, Jupiter. If Jupiter placed in seventh house, again, many people would have said that Jupiter is a very beneficial very beneficial planet. But I will tell you one thing: only the Jupiter aspect is beneficial, but wherever the planet is placed, it spoils the place. So the Jupiter placement in seventh house is considered bad. This will spoil the marriage life of the native. Yeah, I'm repeating again. Only the Jupiter aspect is considered good, whereas the Jupiter placement is not considered as good. Wherever Jupiter is placed, it will spoil the house. Saying now we are seeing the seventh house. So seventh house is your indicates the native's marriage. So in any chart, if Jupiter is placed in seventh house, then indicates the failure in marriage. Okay, then goes to the next one, the Saturn. Saturn placed in seventh house. The placement of Saturn and seventh house indicates very delayed marriage. Delayed and also marriage will not be in a happy marriage life. Because the marriage, the Saturn is which planet which causes delay in any matter. Now, since it is placed in seventh house, we can say there will be marriage will be delayed marriage. Okay. Now we'll go to the next one, Ragu. If the Ragu, which is a north node of Moon, placed in seventh house, what happens? If there is a possibility for a native of a very selfish character, the native will be selfish and very narrow-minded character. If the Rahu placed in seventh house, okay. So whatever combination I'm saying is common for all the ascendant, and if I'm talking about the seventh house for all the ascendant. Similarly, if the Ketu, the south node of Moon, placed in the seventh house again is also represent indicates the unmarried. There will be no happiness in the marriage, or otherwise to failure in a marriage life, because both these Rahu, Ketu are karmic planets. So the placement of Rahu or Ketu in seventh house indicates the failure in marriage life. Okay, thank you. I think so this video is helpful. I have told many combinations for love and marriage. I hope so this video will be helpful. If you like this video, please subscribe my video. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you.